The Entrepreneurs Network here on Classic FM 102.7. My guest in the studio right now, Keith Levenstein from EconoBEE. Keith, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening.
Now, last week on Monday, there was a conference, Sandton Convention Centre, an NEF conference with regard to BEE.
That's correct, yes.
How many people were there?
I guess in the region of 500 or more people attended.
Okay. Addressing what? Well, obviously BEE, but from what angle or what was discussed?
It was the vision of the NEF, which is part of the DTI, and their vision for BEE up to 2020. They wanted to look at the problems that are being encountered with BEE right now and how BEE should change and evolve by, say, the year 2020.
Were changes in the law, legislation discussed, or administrative changes discussed?
There were quite a lot of people, delegates, who were suggesting that instead of using BEE as a policy, it become more a stick rather than just a carrot.
Okay.
It was something that possibly worried us slightly, because BEE is a policy of government and it's not a law that requires companies to become compliant, rather encourage them to become compliant. So we found a bit of a problem in that many delegates, and I have to unfortunately include people from government and the NEF who I believe didn't fully understand or still don't understand the whole concept of the policy of BEE.
Okay.
That really does cause a bit of a problem, in that if BEE was properly implemented, as opposed to the way it is currently done right now, I believe it would achieve every single objective. At the moment, BEE has a great policy, but it isn't being implemented. There was even a quote from the president in the NEF's annual report that says, "I believe that BEE is a good policy, it just needs to be implemented better." And I would have liked the people at the conference, and I was one of the delegates, to discuss more how do we implement the policy far better, rather than because it hasn't worked, or the concept hasn't worked. And there are lots of people out there who are pretty upset that they haven't seen the benefits, and I understand that.
In what way is it not working, in the opinion of yourself and others?
Well, if we simply look at compliance levels or transformation, and maybe transformation is more important, there was a presentation that stated that 74.1% of all top jobs are still held in white hands, whereas us white people only make up 12.1% of the population. The point that they made was they want a more equitable, not an equal society, but a more equitable society, which is something that I can identify with. And if you've got such a huge job differential and an income differential, I think that we have to say that transformation hasn't achieved what we wanted to in 16 years. Back in 1990 to 1994, we had a change of political power, and it did work, and literally overnight a new party came into power. In the case of economic power, we still don't have that. And that is a problem, in that far too many people out there, our population, are getting more and more unhappy, which is possibly why we are seeing industrial unrest and all the other problems that occur in any growing economy.
What would be the impact of a stronger, harder enforcement of BEE on small companies, on those that are 2 and 3 people? I mean, the Entrepreneurs Network, we try to address the SME point of view. I mean, if it becomes harder, tougher, I mean, what would be the impact, and would it be a good thing or not?
I don't think it would be a good thing. There are probably already too many laws, too much red tape. What they did tend to talk about, and they were tending to focus on the larger companies, the big cartels, as they were calling them, the big construction companies, etc., who seem to be more the target of the ire of the delegates. But if there had to be legal compliance, it would force everybody to reach particular targets, which would be a very difficult thing. And in small businesses, 1, 2, 3-man businesses, it would be almost impossible. At the moment, as you know, small businesses with an annual turnover of less than 5 million rand don't even require to have a BEE certificate, or they're already compliant and they automatically are level 4. So it will be quite a big thing for small business in particular to have to comply and to reach targets. But I do think that the delegates and government recognize the small business is the mainstay of our economy, and if we can provide employment to other people and we can grow, it's going to help the rest of the economy grow. So I think that they're going to leave us small businesses alone.
I'm just thinking that a small company approaching a corporate that is totally aware of its BEE status and where it needs to be, and if there are changes. I'm thinking of the small guy going into a big company saying, here's my business, there's my quote on the job. They look at this company, albeit that he doesn't have to comply, but they're going to be maybe pushed to the side or to the back of the queue. Is that possible?
I hope not. I don't think so, because one of the key elements of BEE is to encourage large businesses to support smaller businesses. They do earn BEE points out of supporting the qualifying small enterprise or the exempt micro enterprise that has a scorecard. And to some extent, I think that the conference last week should have covered showing the delegates how to present themselves, because many of the delegates there did have small businesses, and how to present themselves to the larger business in BE terms.
Yes.
So rather than saying, I wish I could get the contract to build this new bridge or this new building, the entrepreneur should rather go to the company, the larger business, the Group 5s, Clinical companies,
sure,
and say, if you use my business, I will do this job for you perfectly with good quality, but at the same time there will be certain benefit that I will be able to offer to you on your BE scorecard, such as I will help you increase your procurement. And it would be lovely if the small business could even identify to the last decimal point how many points he could contribute to that particular company's scorecard. And also the area of enterprise development was seriously discussed, which is a great aspect. But again, I think that's up to us as the small business person to be able to show the large company exactly how they can benefit by working with us, rather than waiting for the handout. We need to be proactive and say, if you use us, you're going to get this benefit, and if you help us with this particular aspect of our business, you will earn enterprise development points as well. This is what I've always done.
Actually, if you look at the structure of a small company, an entrepreneur, an SME, looks at the breakdown and that scorecard and how to actually approach that quote, that job with a bigger company, it's possible to get more points if they manage the structure of their company properly.
Very much so. If only they would better understand, and I'm talking about the larger company, would better understand how BE works, so that they could see the benefit that is going to come along from using the smaller business.
I get the impression from what you're saying that there's still a lot of big companies that are not completely that clear on it.
They're certainly not. One of the presentations at the conference was a survey that had been done by a professor in Pretoria, relating to the compliance level of various corporate companies, commercial, private enterprise. And his estimates were that the average South African company has only reached about 30 or 38 points on their BE scorecard. I happen to believe that it's a lower number than that as well, which is very, very poor, to an extent that's almost about to be non-compliant.
Really? So it's not a very high percentage of understanding what's happening and what should be happening with BE then.
It isn't. We ourselves have a service where we collect BE scorecards from companies, and we have a lot of companies assisting us in the collection of those scorecards. We have a total of 12,000 scorecards. I doubt if there are that terribly much more scorecards. Out of a company population of around about 1 million, 12,000 is
nothing.
Unfortunately pathetic, which is why many of the delegates at that conference were getting probably so upset and venting that nothing is really happening. And to some extent they're right.
Okay, Keith Levenstein from EconoBEE. If people want more advice, your website again?
It's www.econobee.co.za.
Simple. Thanks for being here.